Hello, this is Dawn McCoy with Flourish Leadership Group, where I ignite your leadership to the next level. I'm so excited that you tuned in and just wanted to jump right in and talk about cosmopolitan leaders. My goodness, it is the year 2018, and my goodness, we talk about cosmo and chic and advanced and sort of savvy leaders. So what I want to really do is just cut to the chase and talk about what does that mean? For many of us, we know that there are wonderful, dynamic, extraordinary, and fascinating leaders. Cut to the chase. Cosmopolitan, what does that mean? We see so many who are on the national platform who are doing wonderful and strategic, dynamic things, and they're the ones who are cosmopolitan. So what does that first thing mean, really? It means that we are leaders who really bridge the divide. We're the ones who go across the tracks, across the aisle, across the dynamics, and really the hedges and the building the walls that separate us to really be those cosmopolitan leaders who reach across the aisle and reach a hand. Why we need this more than ever is that leaders are diverse in their beliefs, and so are their followers. And so we need to be cosmopolitan in what believe and how we help others believe. Now, I'm not saying you need to sway and go along and go all over the place. What I am saying is that you need to open your mind and be cosmopolitan in perspective. Leaders who are effective are those who have reached across many different perspectives to align their thoughts with others. And I'm not saying we're all going to get along and it is going to be kumbaya. Absolutely not. But those who are cosmopolitan have extraordinary dynamics. Now, let me use one caveat here. I'm going to stay away from politics and Hollywood. Two subjects that will not enter into this discussion here today, because I think we want to look at historical factors, but also just on an individual basis, what each of us can do to be dynamic and extraordinary leaders in our own right. So first, that's about being diverse in perspective, reaching out to people who may be a little different than you, or people who have some varying perspectives who may come and be a little bit aligned. It's also about being able to be someone who is encouraging. In times of leadership, we find that so many leaders are putting themselves on a platform, stepping up and saying, I am, and I have achieved, and I have done, rather than saying, wait a minute, I need to take about 3 or 4 people under my wing and bring them in the fold. That's what great leaders are doing. The cosmopolitan ones are starting mentorship programs, tutelages, proteges, having all sorts of people who they can say, what are they doing to build better leaders? They're cosmopolitan. I know years ago, I had the great opportunity to have several mentors, and they taught me how to be a better leader because they took me under their wing. That was cosmopolitan. They weren't threatened by me coming up as a leader, weren't feeling, slighted if I had different perspectives. But in fact, we're very delighted to be able to have an eager protege to learn. So I challenge you out there in whatever you're doing, in your community roles, in your faith-based community, in your personal life, in your children's life, in your neighborhood, step up and try to figure out what you can do to be cosmopolitan by being diverse in perspective, but bringing to it that nuance of being a mentor, an advocate, an ally. Someone may have what you need. Someone may have information that you can share. I know so many ways of the things that I do and share, often are life experiences, but also professional, maybe bumps that I've gone through or challenges that I've learned along the way. I want you to think of that as well. And I can't implore this any more than I'm saying with the passion that I'm in my voice here and emphasize how much, because the best leaders are those who are trained by those who come before them, made mistakes, and taken the time to take them under their wing. I know I've had members be mentors. I've had advocates, professional men and women, tutelages, others who make sure that I am getting that skill set that I need. And I want to encourage you to think of different ways that you yourself can get trained in various ways. I look to inspirational leaders. Now, you may or may not agree. Some of the ones who I find fascinating, Brene Brown. If you haven't read or heard many of her information, she's extraordinary and dynamic. Anthony Robbins, obviously extraordinary in his own way. And if you look at any of the work that Eckhart Tolle has done, if you read any of the books by Marianne Williamson about return to love and fundamentals of us trying to really get to the root of people connecting. And that is my third point about making sure that you are following leaders who show connection. It's not just about being a manager, marching orders, a director, being in charge, but in fact, it's about being able to inspire others by connecting with them. So, personal note, obviously, I'm involved in some community efforts, and I've been able to connect with some people on a personal level, connecting because of a family or personal or community-based interest. Now, some of the things I really have passion for are the arts. Absolutely, the arts. And so I found a great way to connect with other people regarding the arts. It may be online communities, it may be actually going to arts events, community gatherings, and otherwise. But being able to have that fondness and that shared perspective, that's what really brings us together as being fundamental cosmopolitan leaders, those who are connecting in earnest. Now, I'm not saying go around and pass out your business card. I'm not encouraging you to go out and make sure you're making a list of who you need to meet, where you need to go. But I mean casually connecting with people. The most cosmopolitan leaders that we can think of, those who have been savvy in their maneuvering and coming and going. Think of how graceful Jacqueline Onassis was. She just was so effortless in sort of her connections with people, with the way she spoke, with the way she carried herself. Think of Oprah Winfrey, obviously a worldwide mogul. Hi, Michael. Thank you so much for tuning in. And when you think of Oprah and others of her stature or caliber, in a non-Hollywood sense, remember, Hollywood and politics are off limits on this scope in this Facebook Live. But to talk about what they do and how they connect with people, they connect on a personal level. Storytelling, being able to have those insights and experiences. And so what I want you to do is to think about what has been an experience or two that you've had that can help you connect with others. How can you make sure that you're being a cosmopolitan leader, not someone who's carrying all their marbles over here and won't share, or you're someone over here who's had all of these experiences, but you'll wait and take them to your grave, or you'll have it read in your summary as you're being lowered to the ground. You will not have that. I want people to be able to share and be able to really fundamentally develop leaders as they are going through their experiences. Now, this requires some vulnerability and being able to share about experiences that may have been unfavorable or otherwise, but it is the truth that we need to share the experiences that are not always happy times. Too many leaders want to not focus on what didn't work out well, or the mistakes that they made, or when something has gone awry. I've alluded to in several of my writings in ebooks, audiobooks, and others about challenges that I've had, experiences that were not favorable, but that it's lessons learned along the way. And so I want to encourage you in all that I do. Again, this is Dawn McCoy with Flourish Leadership Group, to encourage you to be fundamental in your way of being a cosmopolitan leader. Yes, absolutely, be cosmopolitan. Reach across the aisle, across the ways, reach and connect with people who may have varying perspectives, because it is a time in history when we must. Make sure that you're learning to be able to share what you know. Don't hold your marbles close. I'll make sure to drop a link below here about some of the things that are so fundamental that we have to constantly think about as leaders, not just about saying we are going to share, here and there, or intersperse. I recently heard a really great update. I don't know if any of you follow Gary Vaynerchuk, but I want to make sure you follow him. I will drop a link in here later as well. Gary V, who he's affectionately called, actually was on the Today Show last week. And he is a YouTuber. He is a social media strategist, fundamental, just all-around good guy. Everyday guy who loves to share and drop knowledge like this as well. And he said in some of his remarks there on the Today Show last week about making sure, we can't take it with us. We have to be able to share and replicate what we do. And the only way that we can do that is by sharing and fundamentally getting to the core of connecting with people. So I am done for this evening and just sharing again briefly a message about how we can be cosmopolitan in what we do as leaders. And yes, getting to the core of doing that in a savvy and sophisticated way. I want to encourage you to check out what I do at flourishleadership.com, but more importantly, challenge you to do your work as a leader in the community and encourage someone who is a rising leader or someone who you see has leadership potential to take them under your wing. I have live broadcast on Facebook Live, 8 p.m. Eastern, every Sunday evening for leadership reflections. You can also check out some of the other formats where I am in podcast, in groups, Instagram, and otherwise. Again, until we meet again, I want you to have a wonderful week. And until then, be enlightened, be enriched, be empowered.